Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. Gene Joke here, and today I'm sharing with you my top 10 favourite Megadrive games from back in the day. Now, many of these I'll drop in as the whole series of games rather than separating out specific ones, but if I do have a particular favourite I will mention it, but they will be included as one entry. This list is entirely games that I owned back in the day. So if it's something that I never got hold of, it's not going to be here. And naturally that means there'll be no aftermarket games, because the aftermarket scene on the Megadrive is absolutely thriving at the moment and there's been a lot of great games released for it. Now, I'd have to say that the Sega Megadrive is probably my favourite console ever, or the one that I have the most nostalgia for. Now, in terms of the Megadrive versus the Super Nintendo, I owned both systems, but I had the Megadrive first, and that was the one that I really liked. The Super Nintendo I played a lot of the games on it that I really enjoyed, but I'll cover that in another video. But I mention that because I suppose I was always more of a Sega guy back in the day. It's the one that holds that special place in my nostalgia gland. When I hear those FM synth sounds of the Megadrive, yeah, it tickles that gland. But anyway, to get to the task at hand, I considered adding a few honourable mentions here, but there were too many. And I will mention, I haven't included any Street Fighter 2 games here, or any of the Mortal Kombat games, as although I played them on the Megadrive an awful lot, they're not games that I specifically associate with the Megadrive, and there are many games I left out because although I loved them and had a lot of fun with them, well, I had to cramp down to 10. So I've included the games that either left the biggest impression, I played the most, or the ones that I've felt more nostalgia for and I've wanted to go back to more since the days of the Megadrive. And as this is primarily an Evercade channel, I'll mention that none of the games on the Evercade feature on this list.
Number 10.
Is Kid Chameleon, Sega's answer to Mario. Well, one of their answers to Mario, I guess. But I do feel that in gameplay terms it is probably the most Mario-like game that they did. And I won't beat about the bush. On a technical level, yeah, it's not as good as a Mario game. And the setting and story are very typically early 90s teen tood type stuff. But at the time I was the perfect target audience for that sort of thing. The cute Mario type things didn't really appeal to me, but throwing a teenager who gets to wear like a Jason Voorhees style hockey mask and throw axes, have a samurai outfit, drive a tank as a skull-headed general, yeah, that was more my jam than Mario. It's a large and challenging platformer that I never managed to beat back in the day. I managed to get to the final boss, but I could never quite beat it. But it's a large and challenging platformer with a large amount of different masks your character can get, giving you different abilities, and I really enjoyed it. Even though I do acknowledge it wasn't perfect, and there probably are better platformers I didn't include on this list, but hey, it's the whole nostalgia thing.
Number 9.
Is Rocket Knight Adventures, which I just mentioned about not really being into the whole cutesy thing, but Rocket Knight Adventures managed to cross that threshold. It's a visually stunning platformer from Konami with some fantastic music, loads of really cool visual effects that Konami threw in, and at the time felt very unique and a little bit different from other platformers that I was playing.
Number 8.
Gunstar Heroes. Another fantastic Konami game with fast run and gun action, various impressive visual effects, some great music, and although it's very short, it's a game that I've played multiplayer with friends and family loads of times. It was just an absolute joy to play, and it's still fun today.
Number 7.
Castlevania Bloodlines, or Castlevania the New Generation as it was released over here. This is one of my favourite Castlevania games ever, and it was the second one I played, the first being Super Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo. I really liked the differences between the two characters, and like the last couple of games on my list, it's got some really impressive visual effects, some solid graphics, some fantastic music, or some really good Megadrive renditions of classic tracks. Yeah, this could not be on my list. Absolutely love it.
Number 6.
And this is the first one of those series I mentioned, the Road Rash series, all of them. I would say that the second game is my favourite. The inclusion of multiplayer and added weapons certainly helped, and I've got to admit the third was probably the weakest, although it's still a fairly solid game. But this is included over something like Super Hang-On because, well, Super Hang-On was fine and all that, but combining motorbikes with bashing people off their bikes and things like that, yeah, what's not to like?
Number 5.
Is Dragon's Fury, or what some people might know as Devil Crush or Devil's Crush. My favourite video pinball game ever released, by far. I mean, of the ones I've played anyway. I mean, it's pinball, but you've got the sorts of sub-screens and bosses that you go to. You've got a really good visual style and some absolutely fantastic music. This is the game that I judge other pinball games by, and most fall short. Granted, I haven't really played many of the other games in the series, or if I have, it's only been a quick go rather than being able to sit down and get into them. So if those compare, well, I should probably get on and try them at some point.
Number 4.
Is Echo the Dolphin. Well, and Echo the Dolphin to The Tides of Time, but I'm not including Echo Jr. in this. Echo the Dolphin, when it first came out, wasn't something that I was really drawn to, but I ended up renting it out, giving it a try, and then bought it very soon after. It was something quite different, I suppose, and it managed to really capture my imagination with the, well, quite strange sci-fi story about dolphins saving the world and alien invasions and things. The look was really good, the atmosphere and music were fantastic. At least it all came together as a whole really well. And the game is pretty much tough as balls. Trying to beat this took me bloody ages. The first game, that is. I found the second one more manageable, but it might have been because I had already beaten the first one. I mean, clearly these aren't games that are going to appeal to everyone or have the same level of broad appeal as the next few on my list, but it really spoke to me, and I have fond memories of these games. I would love to see some sort of decent sequel to these, maybe done with modern technology or something, but it'll probably never happen, although there have been rumours of it for years.
Number 3.
Is the Streets of Rage series. I mean, the first Streets of Rage was a solid side-scrolling beat-em-up, but Streets of Rage 2 is still probably the best beat-em-up ever made, or at least it's still my favourite one ever. And 3 was, well, it was made, and playing the Japanese version via emulation these days, that is a better experience than the version that was released over here back in the day. But even so, it was still a solid beat-em-up. And the music of those games as well is absolutely fantastic. Even the third game, although that is much more of an acquired taste.
Number 2.
The Sonic the Hedgehog games. Well, Sonic 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles. There's no love for Sonic Spinball here, or that 3D one. Did it come on a Megadrive? I can't remember. The first Sonic the Hedgehog was a good platform game, although I actually preferred the Sega Master System port. I mean, it's a different game, but I found that more fun. It was good, but a bit frustrating in places. I don't think that's a hot take in the slightest. But it was Sonic 2 where the series really took off for me, and I still think today it is hands down the best game in the series. Yes, it's fairly easy. At least beating the game going A to B is easy. Getting all the secrets, getting all the Chaos Emeralds, getting Supersonic and everything, that was a lot more challenging. I also think it has the best graphics and music of the series. Yeah, some of the later games had more detailed graphics, but I think Sonic 2 looks cleaner and generally moves a bit better. It also has the most sort of flowing and fun level design and gameplay. Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3, well, they're fun and there's good stuff with them, but yeah, I don't think they ever quite captured the same magic that Sonic 2 had.
Number 1.
Buck Rogers' Countdown to Doomsday, and I doubt many people saw that coming, unless they already know me and know why I like this game, or specifically why I like it so much. Visually, the game isn't up to much. The Master System could probably do better looking games, or at least as good looking. The sound effects are fine. The music is, it's there, it's okay, but yeah, it's certainly nothing to write home about. And for the record, I wouldn't call myself a Buck Rogers fan. I thought the TV series was hokey fun, I suppose, and I remember seeing the movie as a kid, that Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, whatever it's called, was with Gil Gerard or Gil Rogers, whatever his name was. But this wasn't really directly based upon those, but is on that setting. I don't really know enough about the IP to sort of say about the history of it, but as I understand it, this is based upon an RPG which uses the D20 system of Dungeons and Dragons. And to be perfectly honest, it's probably the first computer RPG that I got into. And I was getting into Dungeons and Dragons around the same time, so I had a sort of an understanding of the system. Well, the game mechanics, I suppose. This is a game that I didn't really expect to like that much, but it hooked me in spite of the simple graphics. I know this being my top pick of favourite Megadrive game is very much a me thing, but I'm also sure it definitely has its fans out there as well. This is the game that got me into RPGs, and already being a sci-fi and fantasy nerd, well, it was a natural fit for me, and I absolutely had a blast going on this sort of solar system spanning sci-fi adventure, making my team of adventurers and pilots and warriors and fighting these various enemies, exploring space stations, taking out various aliens and uncovering this sort of overarching mystery. For me, it was like playing Mass Effect on the Sega Megadrive, but obviously years before Mass Effect came out. So anyway, yeah, there's my top 10 Megadrive list, and it was hard getting it down to 10 games, so a lot of the, I suppose, games that would be considered Megadrive classics didn't make the list. There's many games that people might be thinking, well, why is this included? Not only is it a classic, it's an amazing game, and in the case of many of them, yeah, they are, but I perhaps didn't play them at the time. There's no other RPGs on the list because, well, the ones that are widely considered the classics, I never played them back in the day. There's some games that I potentially could have included, but I played them on other systems instead, such as the Super Nintendo or perhaps on the Amiga. But regardless, it was hard to get it down to just 10 games. Anyway, that's enough rambling about this for one video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.